Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming in and tuning in for our wonderful session. It's been a while since we met and conduct these sessions. I would love to welcome you on board for making time and being available. I'm going to come to you with a different series, which will take me also a long route or a long time to finally conclude. So I request your patience and determination to sustain those sessions, because they will be done and they will be taken through accordingly. So what I have seen in the scriptures, which is so amazing, is that people are not diligent enough to dig that and to uncover such. They miss out a lot because they are not that patient. So I want you to be patient in the sessions that we will cover and the areas that we'll deal with in this season. So I'm going to discuss with you about covenants and find out what God's desire is when it comes to covenants. It's one subject that has been brushed and rushed, but we can have time together to share a number of elements pertaining to that. So my introduction to that is I will talk to you about what I have discovered, that people are not wired to connect at a covenant level. It's so unfortunate that we are not wired really to connect with people at a covenant level, and we would want to abuse relationships or would want to rush relationships into giving us certain things prematurely before without allowing the relationship to grow, to mature, and to be able to offer those things at that stage. I think scripture has often taught us that one of the verses says we have our little sister, and she is due for marriage, but she has no breast, and she is failing to present a posture that is in accordance to where she is about to go. So most of the times people rush into things, especially relationships. Under pressure, there is a high demand prematurely, because we are not wired to relate or to connect at a covenant level. So I believe that spiritual people should be spiritually intelligent to establish covenants with the people that they will meet in life at any stage of life. You have to be wise to develop a covenant, because the temptation is to have contracts that are a mimic to the covenants, because most people are in contracts, they are not in covenants. And there is a vice versa of the people or the relationship that they should have at a covenant level, and they have that relationship at a contract level, and there is a difference between a covenant and a contract. So contracts are usually transactional. They are based on what the person can give or can get. However, it is not wrong to have a contract, but I think that you have to be wise to develop the contract into a covenant so that it becomes covenantal. Because contracts have stipulated jurisdictions, and they've stipulated barriers where if somebody has failed to meet their end, the contract can be terminated. So it is so transactional and it is so black and white clear, such that when one is failed or the period is lapsed, the contract can be nullified. I wouldn't want to say covenants cannot break. I would want to say covenants also may not be nullified. But I want to present to you the basic clear positions of a contract. That the challenge that we have is in developing contracts, engaging at a contract level with somebody you must relate with at a covenant dimension. So you find when a person is not trained or is not wired, skillful to develop a covenant, they will just have a contract or they'll have a casual relationship with somebody they should engage at a covenant level. And that person, when that person gets to meet somebody who's wise, they get to engage with them at a covenant level, and they move on in life and progress to areas which somebody who was in that circle did not seize the opportunity to develop or to create a covenant. So I think to begin with, is covenants are not for weak people, because weak people are not able, the weak-willed people who struggle to establish covenants or to make covenants. If one's convictions are weak, they make decisions through a casual approach. I had a question yesterday, somebody asking me about whether covenants have benefits and what should we do because of the benefits in the covenant. And I tried to handle the question saying, I'm not going to talk about the benefits of the covenant, because I don't think you have to make a covenant based on the benefits you receive. You must be able to make a covenant from your purest position of your heart. Out of the sincerity of your heart, you should be able to connect at a covenant level. Because sometimes you will not benefit materially, physically, that you can directly see. And sometimes you may enter into it thinking that you are the one to benefit, and eventually the person you are in the covenant with benefits from it, if maybe materially better than you. So you have to know it has to be more like, it is a relationship, it is love driven. So that you understand the basis of a covenant. So I think there is a determined approach to life one should take, where they should be intelligent enough to establish covenants. Because we will prosper, we will succeed in life based on the type of covenants we will make. Not really with the people, because not everyone you want to make covenants with would make covenant with you. But it depends with the type of the covenant. It does not matter mainly let me break it down. It does not matter mainly who it is, but it matters the type of the covenant that you will have. Because if it just begins to be who it is, you will find that some people, no matter how you want to get into a covenant with them, they will not be available for you, and you struggle in your life chasing after them, trying to catch them, and you will not be able to find them at a place where they are able to have a covenant with you. So what causes people to struggle in life is that they are not wired to make covenantal commitments. And now when life demands a certain kind of attention, that kind of attention is not offered at a mediocre level, is not offered at an average level. It is offered at a covenantal dimension. And then within the person that you are requesting certain things from, they find you not in a covenant, and they find you not aligned to a covenant. So nothing will be driving them to engage with you, because you are not covenantally wired. We always, I've seen a majority of people that I've met in life, many of their relationships are surface relationships. Very few, as much as they can be numbered, but close to none. Most of them don't make covenants. And the reason why they are in such detrimental positions in life is that they have failed to engage people or to relate with people at a covenant level. And they are so transactional that once they get what they want at a contract level, they quickly walk out and move. Yes, you cannot meet somebody right on the first day and be on the covenant level. You are introduced to a person, or a person is introduced to you at a contractual basis. It is what you do in the relationship that confirms your interest to commit or to have it become a committed relationship. So what I've seen in life is most people are so selfish. This is what makes them enter into contracts. They prioritize personal gain over lifetime commitment. So they're so selfish. And that selfishness is short-sighted. And I would want to call this selfishness entirely. Because if you are really selfish, you'd enter into a covenant knowing that sustenance, endurance, tolerance will reward me later in life. But I think it is selfishness, selfishness marinated in ignorance, selfishness marinated in foolishness, because you wouldn't know that maybe what you think you are in for is not the entire thing. So most of the relationships, they begin not being so lucrative and not being so attractive, and then you lose it because you show that you're too greedy. So the selfishness concept will manifest too early when you show that you're too greedy for the bigger picture or for the bigger piece that you should have later in life. So you manifest your selfishness early, and you manifest it foolishly, and it becomes so vivid that you cannot be entrusted for the journey of the lifetime. So it hinders people to get into a covenantal relationship with you, because you prioritize personal gain over lifetime commitment. You're not committed to establishing a journey or a relationship that will last beyond your lifetime. So I think selfishness, lack of understanding, viewing relationships as contracts instead of covenants. You can sit next to somebody on your road, in your public transport, traveling to another city, meet somebody at work. You can meet somebody at school. Only thing that most people are wise, or they think is wise to do, is to extort people from the relationships that they have. So the lack of understanding causes you to view relationships as contracts, not as covenants. And you benefit exactly from the $2, the $10, the $100, even thousands that you may gain from it, but which may not be able to, which may have not been the reason why God connected you with the individual. So the fear of the lack of understanding thereof causes people to misbehave and manifest their greediness, and they lose a relationship that they should have had at a covenant level. Even in marriages, I've seen that some people enter them with selfishness, enter them with a lack of understanding. The scripture says, dwell with them according to understanding. They're referring to the women, to the wives. So understanding has to be acquired early enough in life. Not only in this area, but in many areas. Understanding something that is to be acquired too early in life. I think I was reading one of the scripture in the book of Psalms, chapter number 51, in verse number 6. And the psalmist says there, you require purity even from the womb. Then he says, you've taught me wisdom at that age. Let me read for you that scripture, maybe from this version that I have. Chapter number 51, verse number 6. Behold, thou desirest truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part, thou make me to know wisdom. So he's saying, you've made me to know wisdom. You require integrity, but you've made me to know wisdom right from the womb. So when I am not yet born, God is making me to know wisdom. So I'm saying understanding is something that has to be acquired at a very primary level and stage in life, so that it will be able to benefit you and make you to make wise decisions. While I'm listing the items that causes people to struggle to make covenants, I will also think of the fear of sacrifice. People are not wired to make sacrifice. You know, sacrifices shouldn't be really based on what you get out of it. But people avoid these deep commitments due to uncertainty. They are unsure of what will become of that engagement, relationship, and they are afraid of sacrificing, because covenants are made out of sacrifices. You get into sacrifices, and it is not really named what exactly you get out of it. So in just closing my presentation today, these are the elements that I needed you to get in the back of your mind that as much as I'm going to dig deeper into this subject for quite some days, don't allow your cultural influence, because our society is valuing temporal agreements over lifelong bonds. That is how people in our areas get to do things. It has become the cultural operations function, and that is the operating system that is active in our lives. That no one is there to stay, no one is there to last, no one is there to be there. You always find people getting a fling for a new thing, because they always want something that is what is cooking today, what is trending in the days, and they are becoming weaker and weaker and working in weak relationships. So this is part of what I'll share with you in the long run as we go into other sessions. And I wanted to pray with you that God will help you to establish to be wired for covenants, so that you will be really made wise for the generation and for the future where you are about to go. So I believe people of visions, people who are spiritual, will seek to establish covenants. So thank you so much for joining in today, and let this be something that you remember and recall when we get into our next session on the other coming day. Have a great day.